which are the two players, which are the top three players, let's say, you dread the most when it comes to traffic?
All the technological formats. It could be what we say, auto scaling, this scaling, that scaling, and all right. When Mahendra Singh Dhoni is on screen, everything goes off.
So how did you manage Dhoni in terms of traffic?
We call something as a ladder based scaling. Okay, this is something which was never coined earlier, and we thought
Yeah.
like auto scaling is not going to help here. We have extensively used the format of Amazon, which is a game day model of testing a particular peak or sale or a peak traffic or a peak
Okay.
event. There's a very famous quote by Elon Musk, right? Like, so in which he says like, AI will not replace you, but the person using AI will replace you.
How do you ensure, or how do you use the data which you capture into production into improving your quality systems?
I primarily look two types of data, okay, from production. One type of data which will give me a very clear insight into of traffic modeling, and the second set of data, what I always look in production is if there is a bug, how do I kind of replicate in my lower environments? So this is what I was talking about, the fault injection, right?
Hello, everyone. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ashutosh Garg. I take care of growth at the Test Tribe. I welcome you all to this session on this fireside chat on reliability, engineering, etc. with Nagabhushan Ramappa. And before I bring on Nagabhushan on stage, I'll do a quick intro about the Test Tribe. So once again, a warm welcome on this fireside chat with Nagabhushan Ramappa. We will be discussing how reliability is being tested, and how to build a quality culture and stuff like that. Before I begin, a huge shout out to Browser Stack, who are our annual sponsors. They are our premier sponsor for all our conferences and exclusive sponsor to all our community events. It's due to teams like Browser Stack we're able to do a lot of these community events uh, at uh, at scale or at free of cost. We're doing our next conference for our first ever offline conference, TribeConf, on roughly 3 months from now in Bangalore, and we have an amazing lineup of speakers. Nagabhushan himself is speaking there, and there are CXOs speaking, senior leadership from different companies, startups, services companies speaking, and we can assure you that this is going to be a lifetime of an experience for you to create friends, learn, and take a lot of learnings home. With that said, it's time for me to welcome Nagabhushan. And Nag is a seasoned testing professional. He's currently working with FriendGeo as head of reliability, previously working with Hotstar. He has been an entrepreneur himself a bunch of times and has helped products scale to and billions of users. So without further ado, which I have done a lot already, let me welcome Nag on stage. Hi Nag, you're on stage.
Hey guys, good evening everyone.
Okay, Nag, this is a warm-up question. Okay, we discussed this backstage, and I tried to get the answers in the chat. That which is the team which folks follow from IPL in this conversation, in this call which we are doing right now. And most people answered RCB CSK, RCB CSK. So from your experience at Hotstar and now at Geo, which are the two top traffic driving teams from IPL?
Cool. If I have to answer it like this is a very personal question though. If I have to answer it like really well, I'm a Bangalorean and always RCB is a like up Monday. Right. Like so. Other than that, like keeping it aside, CSK, the top, RCB, and Mumbai Indians. These are always the three kings, always fighting each other, and there is nobody even come close to them in terms of traffic, in terms of popularity, like the enthusiasm, the fun they create on the ground is amazing. Yeah, but again, RCB always rocks.
Yeah, I'm with you on this.
Yeah.
Okay. The second question, again, fun question. Now, teams we know, which are the which are the two players, which are the top three players, let's say, you dread the most when it comes to traffic? Which are the
Yeah.
two, three players who scare you the most when it comes to traffic? Not in terms of performance, but in terms of traffic, sheer traffic.
This is how it goes, right? Like, so when this entire digital revolution, the OTT thing started, and we in Australia, like, we definitely underestimated things. But again,
Yeah,
when we slowly started understanding the format and everything, like all the technological formats, it could be what we say, auto scaling, this scaling, that scaling, and all, right? When Mahendra Singh Dhoni is on screens, everything goes off. Like the traffic shoots up lakhs together, right? Like on your right top of your screen right now, you are saying, like, for example, 1.2. The moment Dhoni is on screen, it goes to 2 crore, right?
my
Like, so,
goodness.
like all your hypotheses of auto scaling, everything goes on for a toss, right? Like, so Dhoni is always have been a traffic driving force. And apart from that, I would say like Virat Kohli. And third position, like there has always been a fight on that. There is no hard and fast, like I would say, like definition on that. Like anybody can come in and go, but always the top position is always Dhoni.
Dhoni and Kohli. I think
Yeah,
let's answer it like this: Dhoni, Kohli, everybody else, right? Everybody
yeah, everybody has.
else. Got it, got it. Okay, now since you have given me the first cue, and this is not from initial questions we jammed on, uh, so how did you manage Dhoni in terms of traffic? What are the
This
learnings that you took from Dhoni in terms of how do you handle Dhoni when you say in terms of traffic?
So there is a lot of definition as a Hotstar, and as a team, like we put forward. We also do, we call something as a ladder based scaling. Okay, this is something which was never coined earlier, and we thought
Yep.
like auto scaling is not going to help here, and this is something like we have to come in, wherein which there was a very tight coordination between the testing team and the development team, DevOps, SREs, who all come together and say like ladder based scaling, this is how it should work. As an like Donias is on the screen and there is a steep peak coming up, and we want to scale at that particular point, and a lot of things can go wrong and all. So we have tested very extensively around these particular factors, and all the traffic modeling options. Like it is very difficult to kind of explain this is in a 1 hour format. But again, like,
Correct.
so we have extensively used the format of Amazon, which is a game day model of testing a particular peak or sale or a peak traffic or a peak
Okay.
event, right? Like, so we
Okay.
have kind of taken it to a very next level with all the support from the Hotstar senior leadership and the tech teams and all. So we have coined it really well. I can proudly say that Hotstar is one company who have taken this entire game day format to a next level where we kind of mimic one IPL match even before the IPL starts. We take that 3 hours, 4 hours format as one match and mimic the entire traffic around it, right? Like,
Got it.
so if first 20 overs, how it looks, second 20 overs, how it looks, mimic everything. And what are all the faults which can happen over there, inject it, test it. I've worked with a very amazing team over there, my team and the other tech teams also. Like, yeah, that was one of the experience, I would say, till 2020. Amazing.
Got it. I think like teams do simulation matches. You also did simulation matches, simulations
Yep.
before the IPL
Yep.
of a 4 hour thing, right? I
Yeah.
think you coined a term, and you mentioned the term ladder based strategy, and you said this is a term which the team coined in general, right? I know it's difficult to explain it in a 1 hour format, but if you can shed some light on what is a ladder based strategy, so that people can, of course, then use this
If
as
I have
a
to put it in
thinking
a
point.
very, if I have to put it in a very layman language, it's
Yep.
technically what happens is your auto scaling is very much dependent on your incoming traffic, and the moment there is a traffic, it scales up all the services and everything. It's
Correct.
a very high level definition what I'm giving. But ladder based, what we do is particularly in these IPL scalings and all, right? Like, so we always know when the concurrency is at, let's say, like uh, 1 crore, right? Like, so we have a next ladder which says like 2 crore. Okay, it's as simple as that. Like so, the moment the concurrency hits 1 crore, we get ready for 2 crore. Okay, the
Okay,
moment the concurrency goes below 1 crore, there's another ladder, the minus ladder, which kicks in, and this is how we kind of devise the overall laddering style. Because like from, let's say, like this, I would say million traffic, right? 1 million, 2 million traffic and all that changes as a flash during the
flash. Yeah,
IPL. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So this is what
got
at a high level, this is what is the ladder based scaling, and
got
there are multiple aspects to it, wherein which and also like so there's a direct impact on the cost also, but that is okay considering not impacting the user experience.
user experience, and considering the revenue at bay is also very uh, it's
Yeah,
also very high, right? Because
yeah.
if it's not scaled for certain level of audience, then they're not shown the ads also, and then the revenue losses also a
As well,
substantial
right?
revenue
If
loss.
yeah, even in the audience, if somebody is very familiar with auto scaling, AWS, GCP, and all, they all know like even the auto scaling adds in some level of delay to kicks in,
Correct,
right? We
correct.
cannot afford, as I said, right? The
Correct.
moment
Yeah,
Dhoni, it's like Dhoni is the next bat batting is in line, and the person before him gets out, immediately the traffic shoots up.
traffic shoots up. That's true. That's very interesting point. Okay, one question. So, do you prepare for certain events? Let's say now I'm coining these matches as events separately. Let's say a RCB versus CSK match differently on let's say a X versus Y teams match differently
No,
in
not
terms of
exactly.
reliability.
Like so,
Not
no.
exactly.
For us, pretty much all the IPL matches are the same, as I said, right?
Okay,
Like there's ladder-based scaling. Anyways, we have a definition. So
got it.
there's no such technical differences between one match to the other match. No,
No
these are
preparation
all the
wise. This is
yeah,
all the
yeah,
same. Okay, so
yeah.
as soon as we're also prepared for a Rinku Singh hitting five sixes on one amazing day, as same as Dhoni coming on field on a regular day.
Yeah, yeah, it's all the same.
It's always the same. Cool, very interesting. I think we started off well. Uh, uh, okay, what's the since we started from IPL and we'll go to a more deeper discussion uh, uh, while we enter this session. What's the most amazing part of scaling in an IPL match for you?
Yeah, I think like so that's the same answer, right? Like the amazing part of the scaling around is like when Dhoni kicks in, like so how the traffic marches it up, right? Like that
Okay,
was one of the area where we kind of come a long way understanding the format, how do we scale, and understanding the how do we kind of traffic eases out in order to have a good control on the cost, and at the same time, like when there is a peak traffic or a scaling, like so how do you kind of make sure there is always a proper user experience on the platform. There's a multiple levels of scaling which has gone in, and multiple levels of testings which has gone in to understand the user behavior, and then puts it all together to make sure, yeah, I'm signing it off for this particular scale, and this app will work. Yeah, I
got it.
think this I would say like very very amazing. Like getting ready for Dhoni spike itself is like very amazing.
Very amazing. Got it. Interesting. Okay, now since you worked with Hotstar, you're speaking all good words for Hotstar, and now with FinGeo, and both these products have scaled like crazy. You now work with GeoMart, GeoMart.com, and all these are very marquee products, right? These are products which the whole India uses. You work with. Tell us about your role in these organizations and how it evolved and how it impacted you as a professional testing professional, reliability professional, and as a person in general.
I think this is a very good question, right? I would say like pretty much all the audience, they should definitely kind of listen to it. Like so, this also puts up some level of light on how the testing has been growing, and how the testing has
Correct.
changed in the last, I would say, like 6 to 7 years. When I first joined in Hotstar in its very early days, this OTT was not a much of a technical phenomena, right? Like this was all about media and the media companies driving it. When we picked up in Hotstar, we pretty much made it as a tech. we call this as a Hotstar Tech, where in which we started doing things very different. Like, so if everybody here, if you look at Hotstar as an application and geomart.com as an application, right? Like there are two major differences over here. So one is in Hotstar, your video has to play at any point of time. If I start giving you something else other than video, like nobody we will kind of like appreciate it, right? Like so, video is the first and the last USP over there. But again, geomart.com, there's a multiple different level of use cases wherein you have to is without any difficulty you have to check out and all, right? Like so. So when we started this journey, we in the course of this we realized like here the traditional testing it's not enough at all. And OTT, when I picked it up and the team gave me a responsibility of driving the entire quality engineering for Hotstar, the even the market never had that level of information at that particular time. Netflix was one company who has done really amazing work in terms of video, OTT, and all. But other than that, there was not much information. And even in India, like we were one of the first company to kind of set a lot of benchmark around OTT, right? Like when we picked it up, the even the product team, right? Like they always used to say, like whatever happens on the platform, like irrespective of how many features you have, whatever it is, when the IPL is on, when the cricket is on, like the video should play, right? This is the mindset how we started actually,
Correct.
right? Like so for as a tester, I need to make sure when I play something like so when IPL is on, like now today 7:30 we have a match, like during that particular match if I start sending some advertisement on a movie or a series or something, nobody cares, right? Like so
Correct.
everybody is all kind of concerned on the video, right? It should play, right? Like so when we started like this was a very different use case to solve, right? Like so when it comes to e-commerce, like nobody will come and say like my product detail page only should work or my payment only should work like that, right? But in
Correct.
OTT, it's a different case. Like this required a complete ground up work in terms of how we see the testing, right? So that is where slowly we started coining a term called product reliability,
Got it.
right? Like so as I mentioned, like so this will also kind of throw some light on the journey of testing phases. In the very early days, I would say like before 2010, it was all about manual testing, QA, and all aspects. Then suddenly, when the craze around automation picked up, it more became evident on the quality engineering. Then SDED started and all. So I would say like when we started the journey of Hotstar, we kind of said that uh, now it's a time like where in which we have to kind of step up. The product reliability kicked in,
Correct.
right? Like so now the tester is not only responsible for like doing some click and sign off, but he is also responsible for the absolute responsibility of the functionality which is shown on the app. The video should play, the mandate should is there. Like so that's where like the overall thought process came in, and like we devised a complete different format. We picked up a lot of chaos engineering aspects, game day aspects, and we went over and above the traditional API testing, app testing, and all. We also started hiring those set of people. Yeah, I would say like these are the things, right? Like where there are like key differences between companies like OTT and companies like GeoMart. And GeoMart has again, they also have a very different uh, problem statements, right? Like so, they also have a very different use cases. So the moment there is a sale, again, but again, a lot of things are very similar in nature. So when there is a sale, before sale, we prepare all the game day framework wherein we mimic all the sale days. We see the traffic patterns. We adjust the things accordingly. We know like if this comes in, like whether we have a failover for that or not. Yeah, there's a the whole, I would say, like shift in a strategy, right? Like so, like, given the time, like this is what something I can explain. But again, yeah, when we have our next event in July, like I can very well throw a lot of light in terms of frameworks. It could be architecture and all. Yeah, that will be of a great help.
Got it.
Yep.
Uh, uh, I think that's a very helpful answer. Nag. Okay. Like we discussed in between, at certain times, scale and cost are like if you prepare for a lot of skill in advance, like a ladder based strategy from 1 crore, you're preparing directly for 2 crores. It requires subsequent substantial cost investment also, right? Because
Yeah. Yeah.
it might not reach 2 crores. It might still peak at 1.5. So they're like very trade offs. There's a certain trade off there, right? And there's also a trade off between scalability and quality. As as product scale, as team scale, whenever something scales, it- managing quality, overall quality becomes a real challenge. How did you navigate through these two variables, which generally work in opposing uh, spectrum?
Yeah. In here, I would say that now, I would say like in the last couple of years, whenever a product manager comes up with some feature, and they don't just give us a feature, right? Like they also say like what is the scalability associated with this. Now these
Correct,
are very tightly coupled requirements also,
correct,
right?
correct,
Like so that immediately comes to me. Now the one real good thing is before even the dev starts, I know that whether this particular feature will attract traffic or not, or whether I know like whether this feature has to be kind of scale tested, right? Like so these are the very cautious call we take, which will also help us in terms of controlling the cost around it. At some time it can be very well justified also, wherein which cost, whatever we do, whatever we put on load testing and performance, well justified the kind of output it gives in the production, right? Like so see
correct.
a lot of companies out there in the market, they scale test to some number, and they say that multiply by this factor and this will work on prod. For
Correct,
us it doesn't work. Like
correct.
now with the kind of cloud network architecture and everything, you never know until and unless you say that your production will work for 1 million users. You have to scale test in your garage for 1 million users.
That's true.
There is no way, like no math will come and say like okay, you adjust this number and it will work over there, right? At that particular point, yeah, the cost, it goes like it can be easily justified. The kind of output it gives, it can be easily justified. But again, like so there's a whole different dimension. Like now scalability, quality, and the product requirement are like very tightly coupled, and the
Right.
quality injection also over there, right? Like so typically in the past, like we tend to kind of check all the functionality and sign up, as I said earlier. When the scalability checkpoint is put over there, there is a different team within the quality engineering. That's why I call it as a product reliability. Different team, like who are more on the NFRs, like people who doesn't know
Non-functional requirements.
non-functional requirements. This particular team within the quality engineering, they kick in and
Hmm.
they prepare their all set of use cases around it. And they make sure, like even before the feature is signed off, they give all kind of certification and stamping for that, right? Like so
Got
they do the load testing, they do the tuning, they do the chaos engineering, they do all the failover mechanisms and everything, right? Like so see guys, like so, I'm not like throwing these fancy words just like that.
Yeah, I know.
Right? Like so these are absolutely done. If you
Well,
in today's date, if you think of an application which is capable of handling around like 2.5 crore concurrent users without any blip or a glitch, that means like these things have gone in.
gone in. Yeah, that means there is a solid tech culture in place and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Um,
It requires a
Now,
different mindset. It
mindset
requires a
also.
very different
I
mindset.
think I think you spoke the right word here. I think it requires a very different mindset and a very strong buy-in from the top leadership to have that kind of a culture ingrained in the system. And
Yeah,
it should and such things should become part of the culture itself. This cannot be forced upon. That's what I believe. Cool. You talked about that we cannot leave bugs to production, and production takes me to a very interesting question, which is uh, which is uh, which is on the presumption that you must be capturing a lot of data in production also for your
yeah.
apps or your systems, right? How do you ensure, or how do you use the data which you capture into production into improving your quality systems?
Yeah. So I primarily look two types of data, okay, from
Okay.
production. One type of data which will give me a very clear insight into of traffic modeling. That
Okay.
means understanding the user behavior, funnel, like who is coming from where, what is their landing page, and the person has come in and what are the activities he's doing on the app. That is one set of data. And the second set of data, what I always look in production is if there is a bug, how do I kind of replicate in my lower environments? So this is what I was talking about the fault injection, right? So I should always be prepared that I got a bug in production. We did all the RCA. We know like this was the root cause, and whether I have that root cause as a kind of test case in my regression suite, and
Got it.
I have a capability in terms of reproducing that bug in my lower environment, right? Like so, when I kind of mimic a sale day, I should be capable enough in terms of reproducing that particular bug and see like how my system behaves. And I'm not just talking from a functional point of view. I'm also
Of
talking from
course.
a infra point of view, right? So when I look at these infra, like your infra can also go on for a toss, right? Like you can see that your pods crashing, or you can see your cache behaving in a very different way. So these are all the things like I should be able to reproduce in my lower environment, because these are the issues like which will have a major impact on the user
Of
experience.
course.
Like these are my two major metrics, and apart from that, there are like I would say like 25, 20, 30 other
Yeah.
checklists, which I definitely
This
look
is
at in production. But these are the two things like I majorly look at.
okay. I think I'll take pause from my questions and take one of the audience questions. Okay.
Hmm.
This is a question from Sandeep Nagabhushan,
Hmm.
and Sandeep is a very regular, is a very loyal community member, and he does a bunch of things for us. He himself works for a
Hmm.
company which is a lot of load testing and reliability and stuff like that. Two of you
Hmm.
can connect later. Uh, would you like to please throw some light on the thinking framework for building performance, reliability, and skill strategy?
Okay, so if I've understood this question correctly, he might be asking like, what is the kind of surface level framework acceptance with respect to performance, reliability, and scale strategy, or like
I
is
think
it
largely
something
the.
like,
Yeah, you please go ahead.
yeah, is it something like what tech stack goes into that?
No, no, it's more of a broader question. Our thinking
Uh-huh.
framework goes into it. It's not related to a tech stack as such. More
Uh-huh.
of a thinking framework.
Yeah. So if I have to answer this, like so, thinking framework for any kind of a performance, reliability, and scalability is your journey always starts from your historical data, how your app has performed in the past, historical data plus your business projections for the upcoming scale, and both clubbed into scenarios. Okay, and you build a lot of scenarios on top of that. Once you build scenarios, like you put it as a simulations. Okay, there's a big difference between scenarios and simulations. I can explain maybe like in detail over there. Simulations are basically like you give a lot of weightage to each scenarios. Okay, like which scenario should have 30%, which scenario should have like 20%, like that. Then these simulations along with those scenarios fed into a very strong load generating platform, or it can be of your taste right now, but my favorite is Gatling. Okay, and and the reporting after, like the kind of load generation happens over there, you should also at the same time should also have a very solid UI test automation platform to check your actual user experiences. Okay, so one is the load generation on the server side, one is the actual setup to understand and test your front end. And always like so when the load generation happens, it should be fed into a proper reporting tool, where in which I would recommend you push all those things as an event and put it to a warehouse, and so that you can very well for the next framework execution pull out all the data, put some analytics on that and all. And this is one thing, and at the same time application level logging. You should it's not just about introducing a load, right? That is more of a like
Correct.
pretty much a lot of platforms in the market. which will allow you to just produce a load. But I'm talking about overall performance engineering here, right? Like so, when there is a load, you should also have a good grip in terms of observability, monitoring, log analysis, all this. On the application side, also you should be in a position to analyze. Okay, this is one thing, and the other thing is like when your load is getting executed, you should have a proper alerting.
Got it.
Okay, you define your thresholds, have a proper alerting, so that when you do all these exercise, you are also preparing for the production. Like when the sale is happening, when the IPL is happening, you know, like you have all the things. There's the issue, threshold hit, proper alerting, everybody kicks in. Like if there is a auto correction or resiliency in place, yeah, it will kick in. Or if somebody has to personally get into it, he will do it. So these are if I have to kind of explain attributes within a framework of a proper performance, reliability, and scalability. This is how I see. But again, so in this, each blocks are very big. Okay, I'm not limiting just this to
Of
load
course,
generation.
of course,
So
of course.
and this is a proper performance engineering. This is a
Correct,
work of person over and above estate. Okay, but
correct.
you guys should be in a position to do that.
Of course, and Nagabhushan and to audience also, for sessions like this, we don't claim to make people expert out of liability
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
out of these sessions. The purpose is to delve down into brains of experts like Nagabhushan and create thinking points for people to think and study further. That's our objective with these kind of sessions. Interesting, and thank you, Sandeep, for the question, and that was a great answer, Nag. There's one more interesting question from Arun. Okay. He's a QA lead at OpenText Bangalore. What are the aspects of reliability performance that are asked/discussed during feature design stage? For example, what observability KPIs are built into product for monitoring apart from general KPIs we get through tools?
Okay. What observability KPIs are built into product for monitoring apart from general KPIs? See, observability KPIs, like now, if I have to kind of talk about this, there's a lot of shift. Like as I said, right, like from the last 5 years to now, like so, if I have to kind of pick up the quality engineering and reliability KPIs, there is a big shift, right? So in my case, like when it comes to observability KPIs, like so, see, nobody can promise 100% bug-free application in that. But again, like so, what I look at is perform as a performance indicators. What are my leading pointers? What are my lagging pointers? I think like you guys can very well Google that, like what are leading pointers and what are lagging
Lagging
pointers.
point, of
And
course.
yeah, yeah, and at the same time, right, like observability monitoring, like if you have a very solid APMs in place, that is one of the very good thing to have, and you can build a lot of performance indexes over there, right? Like so, it could be in terms of error rate, like so your application error rate is a clear reflection of how best is your reliability. Okay, so we always try to set it to less than like 0.5%. The moment it goes like 2%, 3% very consistently month on month, that means like something really wrong in the overall reliability setup, right? Like so, observability KPIs, like I would say, like if I have to look at right now, like there are more than 60, 70 indicators. Okay, and these are few in a way, like so the error rates, which definitely have to kind of keep tracking in. That defines the quality of the uh, output going out and the quality of the work which the testing team and the reliability team is coming together. Yep.
Got got it. My next question is related to more of a broader spectrum, Nag. Uh, when we work for high performance products and we believe in today's context, tech teams cannot just work in silos. They cannot just be
Yeah. Yeah.
they just cannot be on one side of the offshore floor and just work in silos, right? They have to work a lot with the marketing team, the sales team, the product teams, the consumer insights team, and that's how we believe quality gets injected into high performance products. So, what's been your experience working with these kind of teams, and how do you think the tech roles in general, the testing roles in general, are going to evolve in future?
So the future, I would say, like even with the introduction of GPT and generative AI capabilities and all that, right? The future is very bright. Okay,
Hmm.
and I would say like there's a very famous quote by Elon Musk, right? Like so, where in which he says like AI will not replace you, but the person using AI will replace you.
Correct.
So that's how it's going to be future altogether, right? Like so, and all the QAs have to step up, and all the SDEs have to step up because the future is very different, right? Like so, and that's where like if you look at the work we are doing, like it's a product reliability. Okay, like we have got testers, we have got a lot of people, SREs, we have got quality engineers all coming together, and also the person in the product reliability team, his work is like even more kind of expanded, right? Like now he has to kind of pretty much talk to everyone. If somebody comes and says like I have a, like even 1% stakeholding in the feature, he has to go and talk to him. Like, what are your pointers here? What are your checkpoints here? Like, am I kind of looking at it at the acceptance criteria you have written over here, right? Like, so now there are like even uh, I would say like the whatever the traditional thing is, like it has gone over and above that. Like so now the person has to talk to marketing team, the person has to talk to like your site ops team, the person has to talk to your dev, like product, business people, like, and at the same time, like there's a flavor of artificial intelligence also. Like, and now I cannot say I have a regression time cycle of 2 weeks. Then only I will roll it out, right? Like so now even with this capability, I would say like I have like got a day or two window as maximum as possible, and like I'll quickly roll it out. Like so, go to market has to be kind of very well reduced. The scope is over and above. Like it is. I would say like and the entire world understands it. It's kind of whoever is fit, he will survive. And right now, even for the product reliability, it is more like do whatever it takes kind of a thing. There is no limitation as such. He has to code, he has to understand everything, he has to understand product architecture, technical architecture, he has to understand network diagrams, he has to understand Kafka, he has to understand pretty much everything right now. Because like so if you look at my team, it is these are the people like who on a regular basis getting to the logs or the regular days, getting to platforms like Corologics, getting to the topics, understand like so whether the burst is happening, where the lag is happening, where the crash is happening, understand that, get into Crashlytics, look at the logs, like understand like first level of issue over there,
Got
talk to
it.
the devs, get it fixed. Yep.
Got it. I think you on a lighter note, this answer of yours kind of scared a lot of us, right? And we got to do a lot of stuff. Uh, so I know this is not again possible in 10 minutes or so, but what do you recommend folks to do to get this level of expertise or this level of breadth of skills? Because in today's day and age, information is availability of information is not a question; it's available. Most folks are unable to figure out what to start, and while they start something, they have a FOMO that I somebody else is starting something else, working on something else which I might not know, and I might be delayed because I'm doing something else. So how do you plan? How what do you recommend to folks to get this breadth of skills while not being uh, anxious about in order to do something else?
Yeah, I would say that, see, as of now, the information is available by one click, right? One
Correct,
click,
correct,
like you can pretty much learn everything. I
correct,
will seriously recommend always keep yourself updated. Okay, always see like what is happening on the AI area, and there are a lot of things happening. Lot of things happening, right? Like so every minute there is a new things coming up. Like keep yourself updated on the AI and see like what exactly you were doing yesterday. Can this be done by an AI? Right? Like so
got it,
that is one of the area like where people can very well keep themselves kind of updated. Okay, and everybody might have heard the concept of copilot, right? Like
correct,
so there is a engineering copilot, and very similarly I'm sure like very quickly there will be something called as a test copilot, which will come in and help all the people like, over there, like in terms of like what should be doing next. Because like there are a lot of tools out there in the market wherein which, Right now, let's say like I reported a bug, for example. It's not in Jira anyways, but there are some tools very similar to Jira. Like I just entered the summary and created the bug, and there is a pop-up comes up and says like this is what you have to do next,
Got
right? Like so, these are very big advancement, and there is no need to worry. You will always be in a panic if you are not updated. Okay,
correct.
very essential. One programming language you should be mastered. One programming language at least. Okay. Second, understand the design patterns. Without having a good understanding on the design patterns, it's very difficult to kind of come up with the future level test cases. Okay,
Got
and third, always get a strong hold on the cloud and the technologies over there.
got
Okay. And these I would say like these are my three things where a person don't have to kind of panic. Keep doing your good work. Always stay updated and talk to and build a very strong tech community around it. Like so, these
the
kind of
tech community.
events, right? Yeah, and as a test tribe also, you guys are doing a very amazing job because like going forward, these are the things where people can readily come in, get a solid information, go back, build the underlining capabilities, and start working on top of that. At least they can prepare a list of whatever like to learning activities, right? Which are the topics to be learned. At least they can prepare a
Correct.
list going
Simple
by
list.
these events. And I really appreciate like Test Tribe and few other communities. Right, you guys are doing an amazing. This is a need of an hour because with
Need of the
all
hour.
the disruptions at a very large scale,
Large
people
scale.
are
Yeah.
either panicked and they don't know what to pick,
Correct.
right? Like so what to pick, what to learn, and they end up learning they end up start learning everything and they end up not mastering anything. But again, one programming language is a must. It could be your Golang, Java, Python, whatever it is. One programming language is a must.
God.
And
And I
that is
think
not a
and
that and one thing that is not even an excuse. If somebody comes up and says I'm a QA, I'm an exploratory guy, I don't want to do any programming language, like that is not even an excuse. One programming language is a must.
must. And at the same time, honing your testing skills at time was also
Yeah,
important because because some people get a lot of turn on by the programming language world, and they forget that that essential testing craft has to be sharpened day in and day out, and
yeah.
that
That's true,
fundamental
right?
value.
Like, so with all these capabilities, AI capabilities, let's say, like, if an application is built with only AI capabilities,
Correct.
before that application gets into market, there is a layer of exploratory testing has to be done, right? Like, so I know my AIs have built it, but
Correct.
who will certify that it will work and with a proper reliability and with a proper confidence it will work on the production, like
God.
some layer of exploratory testing. This is my thing. Like what I foresee is there is a strong technically driven exploratory area which will grow in the upcoming years. Okay,
God.
this will be a very technically driven exploratory area, exploratory testing area, I would say. If somebody is in the area of exploratory testing, they can very well understand this. That will blow up. The more the AI, the more this particular area will blow up, and the more the requirements will come in.
Of
Because
course.
you already see that there is a prompt engineering and prompt related
Yeah.
activities which are already there. Like very similarly with the area of exploratory testing, test copilot, and all, this will also blow up. Like, this is how I see the future of testing.
God. Very interesting. I think we have about. I can take two, three more questions. Uh, uh, Now, this is a question slightly unrelated to testing in general and more of a generic question. Uh, Mentor-mentee relationship is a very weird relationship at times because most mentors don't understand the mentee's expectations. Right? Sometimes it happens through unclear communication, and sometimes it happens through different stuff. So, what do people expect from mentors in general?
So, this is a very good question, right? Like, see, how I have dealt with my mentors because, like, I don't know, in a way, like, I've been very lucky from 2013. I've got some very solid mentors. The thing which I have not expected from mentors are this is very important. moreover, what to expect from mentors, I would say like what to not expect from mentors. Okay, you should never expect spoon feeding from mentors.
That's true.
Okay, if your mentor is sitting next to you and helping you with every line of code, with every test case and everything, that is not a mentorship. Okay,
Correct.
that is definitely you cannot expect from a mentor. So and few other things, right? A mentorship, a mentor is, it's not something like you cannot expect very frequent appreciation from the mentor also. Like if some mentor is coming to you appreciating you on every second day, uh, there also something is wrong.
Correct.
Okay, that also you should never expect from a mentor. Okay, what should expect from a mentor? A sense of freedom to innovate. Okay, a mentor should come and say like, I'm giving you this, you go do whatever you want, come back with the result. Because like right now, as I said, right, the information is available in one click, and that
Correct.
gives you a freedom of going and research, right? Like
Correct.
you come back with the things, and that's one thing, right? Like so that is something like I always expect from a mentor who gives a sense of freedom in terms of doing, because every individual has their own way of working,
Hmm.
right?
That's true.
Right, like I have my own way of doing research. Ashutosh has his own way of doing a research. Like
That's
nobody
true.
can comment because this researching capability is not. It doesn't come from a college. Like from the childhood, there's a way of researching things, right? Like so. So this is definitely like what is something like I would say like strong. I strongly recommend you should always expect a sense of freedom from the mentor, and definitely you always get a mentor who kind of front face you when you do horribly wrong.
Got it.
Because
Got it.
like doing a mistake is a part and parcel of the thing, and
Got it.
as an IQ, like
That
so
makes
you
sense.
did some mistake and you are the one who is facing everything.
No, no,
Yeah,
makes sense.
I would say this is crisp. Like this is a very simple thing. Like what I expect from my man, and I'm been very lucky in that way. Like I've got some serious mentors who are really good.
I think the role of mentor is so underrated in the overall
Yeah,
world we live in that each of us need mentors. And I'm doing a shameless plug here. We have a test mentorship section here. You can go and find mentors. There's no cost involved. There are a bunch of illustrious people listed there. They'll help you find your mentors, take help from them, give it back to them in form of your achievements, and they'll be more proud than you after you achieve what you intend to achieve. So I would request my team to drop a link for the mentorship section on our website so that folks can have a look at it and interested ones can join in. Like mentors are one source of learnings always, right? This is a question from Sandeep again, and quite typical of him. What what kind of excellent courses, books, or blogs you would suggest on architecting and strategizing performance reliability and scaling in such complex products? If you can recommend a few.
yeah. I would say that when it comes to books, blogs, and all these things, right, like performance scalability and all. See, I've been always a fan of Netflix.
Hmm.
I have not seen companies like apart from Google, Amazon, and all. Like I've not seen any companies going that close in terms of documenting what they have done and open sourcing things. Right? Netflix has done an amazing work. That can be a very good start if somebody wants to kind of advance in terms of their testing skills, harness it, and all. Netflix going to be a very good start, and uh, on top of that, Hotstar has done an amazing job. Hotstar
Yeah.
Tech is always there. I'm not sure, like, after Disney came into picture, whether that particular Hotstar Tech page is still there or not. There are multiple blogs over there in terms of our PubSub architecture and the scaling part, how we did. And also, I've given one very big presentation called Hulk, which was our load testing engine over there. Uh, that also can be a very good start. But I don't know. It's a one's own perception. I'm not a book person. I don't like opening book and reading it and all. I always look into blogs and videos. I would say like Netflix is going to be a good start. Hotstar, good thing, because like these are very much in a very layman language. As an like
Got it.
things are written in some thesis level of language
Got it.
where nobody
Yeah,
can understand that. And in terms of, I would say the practices, QA practices, I would really recommend people to go and look at the documentation of GitLab,
GitLab. Yeah.
right? Like, so if somebody wants to kind of progress
Uh,
as a QA manager, or if somebody wants to kind of SDAT manager, principal architect, or something, if they want to drive, if they are driving teams, GitLab is amazing. And even in terms of technical things like how do we manage scale, because like just think of GitLab going down, think of
got it.
GitHub going down. These are basically the heart of every application,
Got
every
it.
company where their entire repos are there, right? Like, so
That is
think
true.
of their high availability thing, like what kind of quality work, quality engineering team, what they are doing over there, what kind of scalability there. The GitLab has done an amazing documentation. I seriously recommend just GitLab quality engineering. You will get everything. Okay, I think these are my thing. Like, and my Microsoft, Google, Amazon, like they have done an amazing work. And I mean, AWS cloud documentation, or like nobody can come even close to that. That can be a very good start for a cloud. Yeah, these are my few favorites. I think this is also one of our. I think it's a good thing. Like, I can also write one blog on, like,
Yeah,
not
you
exactly
can
my
write a yeah.
my journey was in terms of referring to the blog, but I'm not a book person. I never read any kind of a book till now.
Yeah. Have you you can write a blog of blogs. Like this is the blogs you can refer to. This is I request
Yeah.
our team to find out these blogs which Nag mentioned just now, so that and paste it in the chat so that folks can go ahead and read it. I think they've started to paste the links here in the chat itself. I'll ask two questions, Nag, one serious and one a little funny one. Pick one. Would you want to pick answer the serious one first or the funny one first?
Let's get into the funny one.
Funny one. Okay, so uh,
I think
uh
you have to wrap it up, like 7:30
yeah,
RCB match is on.
yeah, that's right, that's right.
Mm.
Uh, uh, so let's say when there is a prod bug and you're working on Hotstar or something like that, and suddenly the stream goes down, and how does the entire org looks at you? How do you react in that situation?
So for me, it somehow looks like as soon as there is a bug, there is a hundreds of limelight on me. Like,
Oh yeah,
see, the lights are on. Like,
yeah,
now what has happened? Like, multiple
yeah,
things. Now now that. But again, right? Like, we have come a long way. Like, so see, production bugs are bound to happen. It's not something like 100%
of course.
resilient or self healing. Yeah, when the lights are on and every light is towards me, that is a momentary thing, like where I say shit, like I have to kind of get up.
Yeah,
And at that particular time, yeah, it's all about, like, so how best you know the organization, whom to call
correct.
in, whom to bring in. Do you have a proper way of fixing it, like documented? Do you have a playbook ready? As an again, like, so at the time of bug, you
The
start
bugs are.
preparing the playbook.
You have
Yeah.
to. There's this quote that the more you sweat in peace, the less you bleed in war. So when there's a war, you just then you can't find your weapons and okay, I have to fight a war, right?
There
Um,
was an instance where I flew from Mumbai to Bangalore when there was
okay.
an issue. Immediately,
Uh,
like leaving everything.
got it, got it. And I think that's very well sums up. Okay, this is a serious question, man. We are living in very tough times right now. The macroeconomic situations are not as good as we would
Yeah.
expect them to be, and things are and tech companies are doing which they have not done since decades, right? Uh, how does we as testers prepare ourselves for situations like this, for from a long term point of view, also from a short term point
Mm. So I put in this way, like, let's say, like, if somebody is a fresher or 1 or 2 years experience, if they are kind of laid off or like asked to leave or something like that, right? So don't worry, it happens for good, and you guys are getting a very hard beating at the early of your career, which is a very good learning, right? Like, don't worry at all. The world is big, multiple opportunities. If you have a skill, if you have a good communication skill, if you have a good technical skill, you will definitely survive, right? The good thing is you are getting this beating very early in your career so that you will become stronger and stronger over the year. In my case, also, when I joined, my first company is Satyam. Okay, I joined, and within 1.5 years, the company is gone. Like, don't even know, like, why it
of
happened.
view?
Like, entire world is working, the Satyam company is gone. Right?
Correct.
Like, so I got this beating very early in my career, and I grew stronger and stronger.
Yeah,
and and I always try to make a transition very quickly. If you kind of want to get a best mentor, get a best company, like yeah, feel free, whatever it is, like right, like it's at the end of the day, it's your world.
God. And I think what you said is right, that prepare yourselves. I know we know that it's very difficult to. It's easier said than done, right? It's easier said
Mhm.
than done, but there is no other alternative to gather ourselves and prepare ourselves for the future. And maybe this was what was expected, and
Very important thing, right? Like say, with all this generative AI disruption and everything, whether you have noticed it or not, irrespective of the experience, irrespective of how many years of experience, 15 years, 20 years, 10 years, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is, right? Everybody are leveled now. Okay,
correct,
so if somebody is with a 15 years experience, never heard of AI, and if a fresher who never heard of an AI, they both are same, right? So
correct, correct, correct,
this is the very good start for everyone. Very good start for everyone. A person with 15 years experience, what he will do is 15 years experience plus he will learn an AI, and he can make a very bigger impact. Okay, a person who is a fresher comes in with a AI, he can bring in a very outsider look, very fresh view on. Because
correct,
I don't know what like it's very difficult to understand for me to what is the expectation of a Gen Z,
correct,
right? Like I can very well go till millennials. Okay,
correct, correct, correct,
Gen Z is like their expectations are very weird. Like so, they open an app, like they throw it. Like so, I don't know. Like how is the traffic at all?
correct.
Because at that
That is
particular
true.
point, I want a Gen Z in my team.
Correct, correct, correct. But that's true. We work at Extra. We work with a bunch of very young folks. The energy level is very infectious. The uh, the adaptation to technology is very infectious, and there's a lot of it feels good. It feels young and good to be around younger people, right? That's how it is in general. Uh, I think we are on time. Thank you so much, Nag, for doing this. This was a very insightful session, especially coming from someone who has worked on very dynamic and very high performance companies and products. I think this might be a lot eye opening for a lot of us who have come from a different background. So thank you to Nag and thank you to everyone who has joined in this session. And we hope you liked it. And we'll keep seeing you. And Nag is speaking in Bangalore in our TribeConf offline conference in Bangalore. So if you like this session, we will love to host you in Bangalore also. And we hope to see you there. Thank
Cool.
you, everyone, and thank you, Nag.
Thank you, Ashutosh. Thank you all.